Hey, welcome back to the Word Expanded the Gospels. You can tell what kind of a mood I'm in based on how I intro things. You ever see that? Like some days I'm like, hey, welcome to the Word, the expanded version of the Word, right? I am excited about Jesus and excited about getting to share his word and just bring out some truths. The cool thing about the Word Expanded is we're taking a whole paragraph and we're pulling out just a couple things. I don't get to go through it word by word like I like to do and pull out and make a big deal about every word. Now, some people pull out every word and they give you the Greek and the Hebrew and all the meanings. I just get applicationally sidetracked by every word. How about that? Right? I look at it and I see it differently than some people do, right? Other people look at it and they see. I've got a fantastical, wonderful person in my life who loves to get sidetracked by the law. Listen, I'm not a lawyer. I really, truly don't need all the ins and outs. Just tell me whether somebody's guilty or innocent. Tell me the end result, right? And I'll get there. Now, here's the problem. I'm the one that's writing the 52-page, right? Here's what the verdict really means, right? I'm gonna tell you this is what happened. So the lawyer decides, the judge decides, hey, guilty. I'm gonna tell you in 52 pages why they're guilty or why they're not, right? People don't like that. So it's one side or the other, right? That you're usually on. Although most of the church just rides the middle and it's just like, no, we're just gonna watch this trial. We don't want to be in the jury. We don't want to be the judge. We don't want to be a prosecutor. We don't want to be any of those things, right? We just want to watch. Man, that's fantastic. We should probably talk about that. How about verses 9 through 14 of Matthew chapter 12? He went on from there and entered the synagogue. And a man was there with a withered hand and asked him, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? So that they might accuse him, right? He said to them, which one of you has a sheep? If it falls into a pit on a Sabbath, will not take hold of it, lift it out? Or how much more value is a man than a sheep? So it's lawful to do good on the Sabbath. Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath? Then he said to the man, stretch out your hand. And the man stretched it out, and he was restored healthy like the other. But the Pharisees went out and conspired against him how to destroy him. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Didn't even know it, right? And this is exactly what I'm talking about. Most of us, we watch how the trial goes, and then we go out and we put on all of our faces and we pretend like we know exactly how it should have gone or how it shouldn't have gone, or somebody got off or somebody didn't get off, or we don't want to be a part of anything. We just want to commentate on things all the time. Do you see the significance of this story? There's a man with a withered hand. Somehow the man with a withered hand becomes used by religious people, right, to try to get Jesus. Is that the craziest thing or not? Aren't the religious people supposed to care about the people with the withered hand? Shouldn't they be wanting the person with the withered hand to get healed? But they don't care about him getting healed. They care about using the withered hand man for their own benefits. Let me make this super clear and simple. Yep, that's the majority of churches today. We don't care about helping people with sin. Right? We don't care about helping people get freedom. We don't care about all this. We care about using the sinful thing to get what we want. Do you know how many associate, assistant, and church leaders, associate, assistant pastors, and church leaders use the fall of a pastor to get what they want? This one is position. They want to take over and be the hero. Oh, man, this guy failed. We got to be really tough on him. They're disqualified. The entire time knowing that they're disqualified before they ever take the position. Do you realize that 90% of pastors or more understand that they are disqualified before they ever accept the position of pastor? How do I know that? Well, let's see. If 70 to 80% of pastors currently are addicted to pornography, well, then they're disqualified, right? According to the Bible. They have a unrepentant sin that they're not dealing with. If they are repentant pastors that are struggling with pornography, that's a totally different thing. But if you're hiding pornography because you know it will cost you your job, well, that's a totally different thing. Do you know that 70 to 80% of pastors believe and know that they don't have good or biblical marriages? Well, how do you do that? Right? Do you understand, right, the things that are going on with this whole thing. And these are religious people who are making these decisions. We're using people to get what we want, to build what we want. You don't think if you think I'm being too harsh, or you think it's not true, well, don't look in your own church, because I'm sure it doesn't happen there. But look at everybody else's church. And you see, when a pastor falls, look at the other pastors that are attacking. Look at the other pastors that are destroying you. When someone in your church falls, do the people gather around and help, or do they start throwing stones? Right? This is the idea. And this is a guy with a withered hand. And what happens? The Pharisees and Sadducees, they're looking how to get Jesus. And so Jesus, he doesn't defend himself. He just asks questions, which is what Jesus does best. Hey, how about this? How about if you were walking by on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. and you noticed that one of your sheep were being sheep-like and they fell into a pit? Would you actually literally wait until Monday morning to lift that sheep up? Are you going to let that sheep bleat there, calling the attention of every wolf, coyote, bear, mountain lion, and everything else? You really going to let that I would not let that happen to my calves. Never, ever. I lost a calf this morning, couldn't find it. I was out searching for it because I understand what happens in those moments, right? Calves, sheep, they're flock, they're herd animals. They need to be together. And when they're not, they cause great problems. But a bleeding sheep, right, calls attention to itself. We would help. We would help the sheep. We would not let it sit there all day. You're not sitting in your house listening to a sheep baa all day long. No way. Not happening. Right? You would help. If you see somebody who's got a withered hand, right? Who's got financial problems, who's got a disease, right? Who's sick, who's got relational problems. You're going to tell them to wait until Sunday night, wait till a different time, wait till a more important moment. We've heard those stories where people have been eager to get saved and they've been told, wait till the end of the service, or we don't do that here. Imagine walking into a church being eager to be saved. You've had the withered hand, right? And you're eager. You respond to the message and you get up front and you say, okay, I want to be saved. And they go, we don't do that here. Wow, how crazy is that? Yet there are churches that do that. This isn't a church bashing moment. This is a how we're doing it wrong moment. The church is people, right? So again, you can blame a denomination, you can blame a certain church, but it's the people in that church who've gotten off track, right? Doing the ritualistic things of God has become the most important thing. And somehow we forgot the most important thing is the bleeding sheep that fell in a pit. Doesn't matter how it got there. Doesn't matter what it's doing while it's there. Doesn't matter if it sincerely wants to get out or not. We're there to help. Right? We're there to help. Listen, there is a fantastic commercial out there, right, that has two men pulling out a sheep out of a crack, right? They pull out the sheep runs like 5, 6, 7 leaps and jumps right back in to the hole. And you think, yep, that's what happens most of the time when we pull people out of a pit. None of that matters. What matters is we're to have compassion and to care for people, right, who need us, for the man with a withered hand. So here's my challenge to you. Thanks for the soapbox moment. Hope you can survive it. Right? If not, just you've already turned it off. So I'm just speaking to the 1 or 2 people that actually managed to make it through the whole thing. Right? What are the withered hand moments in your life? What are the moments where you're losing track of the withered hand and you're stuck on how things are being done, right? What things are being done, when they're being done, where they're being done, why they're being done. Right? When does the withered hand become what's most important? Not all the other stuff. Right? Is the other stuff important? Can it be important? Yes. The enemy loves to use all of that stuff. Right? But in certain moments, Jesus is like, no, this is what's important on the Sabbath. The withered hand, the person with the withered hand, is more important than your law controlling the person with the withered hand. Quit trying to make excuses and reasons for why you can't help. Look for why you can help. And ask God. We'll see you next time, right here on the Word Expanded, the Gospels.